It is super fan time at Cheltenham. Nick Ball, I'm pleased to say I'm next to you. How are you, sir? Lovely to see you. And you are one of this week's super fans at Cheltenham. Tell us how this has come about, Nick.
Yeah, thank you indeed. Well, it was a competition that was run by the racecourse. We all had to, in so many words, say why we thought we were a super fan. I wrote in, explaining that I hadn't missed a day since 1983, that I moved to Cheltenham because of the racing. Just absolutely loved everything about it. And thankfully, they picked me.
I'm trying to work out how many days that is from the change in the amount of days at the festival over the years. I'm not close enough to... Do you know how many days that is consecutively?
No, I don't know, actually. Of course, we missed 2001.
Yeah.
But, no, I don't know exactly how many, because obviously... Right at the very start, it was 3 days,
yes,
and not 4 days. So no, I couldn't tell you exactly.
Which was it? A horse? Was it a moment? What was it back in the early '80s that made you go, "Oh my God, I love Cheltenham"?
Well, it was just the atmosphere when I came the very first day, Gold Cup Day in '83. It was. I should have been at school. And I came with a bookmaker. It was his son who got me into it, really. And when I experienced that roar of the crowd, I just knew I had to come back. So I came back the next year and every year since. It just totally encapsulated me. I just couldn't get it out of my system. I didn't realise I was going to have to wait a year when I first came, that it was only every year. I thought it was every other week. But yeah, so it
wasn't as though you grew up in racing necessarily. It wasn't in your family history or anything like that. It was a case of I love those stories of so many of them. I should have been at school, but you weren't. You came here and that was it. You were hooked from day one.
I absolutely was. I didn't actually know what history I was seeing at the time. I've obviously learned all about it since, but the Michael Dickinson's 5...
That was his 5, was it, 83?
It was, and I didn't know. I had no idea that's what was happening. But, that was what happened on the first day I was here. I saw Desert Orchid was the one that really got me as well. That was from sort of 87 to 89 when he finally won the Gold Cup. And it's just... It's the roar of the crowd, it's the atmosphere, it's everybody enjoying themselves that it's got to be. You've got to come and feel it, and then you'll understand it.
Enjoying themselves, even in the rain, because there are still
absolutely.
plenty of smiling faces here, rightly so, because it is day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Nick, how's it changed over the years? What have you seen change for the better, perhaps for the worse? I don't know. What's been the major differences Cheltenham now to those which you were attending 30 years ago?
Well, I think nowadays it's more professionally. It seems more professional. The 4 days has certainly helped to bring a wider audience as well. With the Gold Cup moving to a Friday as well, I think that's a big difference.
Is racing more obsessed with it than back when you started watching? A lot of people say, obviously wasn't attending back in the early 80s, but a lot of people saying, now it's getting to the stage where National Hunt season literally revolves around it, which it perhaps didn't in quite the same way.
Yeah, I think so. I think now everything right from the very start of the season in October, it's all roads to March. Whereas before, I think the horses ran more times. You saw them more often. Now you probably only see the big horses running 2 or 3 times in a season, and it's just all about this week. It almost seems like the King George has become a trial rather than the Grade 1 that it should be. So I think definitely it's more all about this week.
Give me one memory in your time since 1983. I know this is difficult. One thing that you saw here that if you had to forgo every other day, that would be the one you wouldn't have missed.
Desert Orchid winning in 89. Absolutely, 100%.
In the heavy that he wasn't meant to. He never had a chance in that ground, did he?
He didn't have a chance, and Yahoo loved it, and Yahoo was going to blitz up that hill and leave poor Desi trailing in his wake. But no, Desi was gutsy, wasn't he? And no, he wasn't going to let that Gold Cup go.
Do you have a tear on the day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really did. Not only because I'd backed him, but because I threw my hat up in the air and lost it. So I had a tear about that as well. But I'll never ever forget that day. And of course, what I didn't appreciate on the day as well was Peter O'Sullivan's commentary, because we couldn't hear that on the track. Yeah. It was only when I got home and I put my old VHS recorder and the tape to watch it back, and then you've got Peter O'Sullivan's commentary as well.
And he talks right the way over. I think Simon Show were coming back in the weighing room. He took those days where he really picked out. He went on about, not went on, but talked at length about the aftermath as well, and he just kept you hooked the whole way through.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I could reminisce forever. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was such a cold day. It was a bit like this, wasn't it? A bit like today, but it warmed everybody up. Everybody was loving that moment. Even if they hadn't backed Desert Orchid, I think they just loved the fact that he had won. He'd got what he deserved in his career.
Hear, hear, the magnificent grey. Nick, enjoy your day. It's been lovely to reminisce. One of the super fans at Cheltenham this week, and you certainly do qualify. Hasn't missed a day at Cheltenham at the festival since 1983. Nick, thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.